Hey everyone, before we get started, take a second to like and subscribe to the show.
It's the best way to help us share great information with more people. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome to CareLab. This is part 2 of our new series, and it's all about being deaf and hard of hearing. And we've got some really great guests to come talk with us about that. And Amelia's going to introduce them.
Yeah, okay. So in part 2 of this series, we're going to
Uh-oh.
explore some of the solutions that people are trying to use, some that may work, some that may not work for hearing loss and communication challenges, from confusing technology options or to everyday opportunities that might be missed and everyday barriers. We're going to dive into gaps that families and caregivers face, and so why so many existing tools are still leaving people struggling to connect.
And if you were not with us for the first episode, number one, go back and listen to it. And number
Mhm.
two, let me introduce John and Chase Prieve, a father and son duo, also founders of Hi There Solutions. And they are working towards making sure that accessible communication is turned into a right like it should be instead of the privilege that it currently is today. So, guys, thanks for being with us again. And wanted to start with what tell us a little bit more about how challenging it can be to be navigating the world when you have a hearing loss, and what things people have to do right now in order to try to maybe do things that might feel a lot easier to me to do as a person who has good hearing.
Absolutely, Brandy, Amelia, thanks for having us back. I think a good way to kick off this episode, well, let's have my dad, who's got hearing loss, tell his own lived experience in travel. Hey, Brandy. Hey, Amelia. Great to be back with you again. Our mobile app solutions, which are award-winning, that we've developed specifically for as a communication accommodation for the deaf and hard of hearing community, of which there's 52 million in the United States. And our solutions have been developed by the deaf for the deaf. So in other words, we have some wonderful deaf advisors and consultants who we've worked with in order to develop our mobile app solutions. And over the course of our journey of our company in developing our solutions, with the advice and consult from our deaf friends, we've heard all about their life journeys dealing with hearing loss. Now, I have my own hearing loss, a severe hearing loss, and I'm a bilateral hearing aid user. And we've understood and listened to our deaf friends, and our deaf friends are super cool. These are the individuals who sign at the Super Bowl. So the Star Spangled Banner, the halftime show, these
That
are
is
our
very cool.
It's
so
super
cool.
cool.
They're like
I like to watch
celebrities.
them because oh man, and they be
Oh, they're
going
so
hard with the
impressive.
signing and dancing at the
Yes.
same time. I love
They're
it.
so impressive. Yes.
They're awesome people, but we've listened to their life journey because deaf people do the same thing hearing people do. They open a
Yeah.
bank account, they buy a car, they shop, they eat out, they travel. And their travel stories with hearing loss, deafness, and severe hearing loss were just horrible. So I said, you know what? Let me do some market research on behalf of our company because there's likely a really good business to business model that we want to explore and pivot toward. Well, so I travel every week for my day job, and I booked a flight, Denver to Phoenix, round trip on American Airlines. Now, Brandy, Amelia, pick your airport, pick your airline, it doesn't matter. They're all horrible for a deaf or hard of hearing. So I booked my flight and I put into my profile, send it off to American Airlines Special Assistance. I have a severe hearing loss and I need special assistance. And I send off my request. Well, I wait and I wait and I wait. Finally, 2 days before the flight, American Airlines Special Assistance calls me. So, I mean, if you're big D deaf or even little D
Yeah.
deaf, you're not able to use the telephone. Now,
Yeah.
thankfully,
Just
I
let
can
that
still use.
process for a minute, listener. If you're listening to this right now, right? Like calling someone who has a severe hearing impairment, maybe not the best way to reach out.
Right? And thankfully, I can still use a phone with my Bluetooth technology with my hearing aids. So awesome. So I call up American Airlines Special Assistance. And the first question they ask me, they go, Mr. Prieve,
what exactly is your medical condition? I'm like, well, it's right there in my profile. I wrote to you, I have a severe hearing loss. What can you do for me? And they're like, good news, Mr. Prieve. We can get you a wheelchair.
That's no, can I tell you that's exactly what I thought you were going to say, actually, because
No
there,
way.
no, for sure, because there aren't any other accommodations that, at least any airlines that I'm aware of. And if you work for an airline and you're listening to this and you know of more, actually, please get in the comments and tell us about it,
And
because
let
it
us
would
know.
be, I think, be really
Mhm.
helpful for people. But the only accommodation that I'm aware of that airlines offer is wheelchairs and assistance getting on and off a flight for people who have physical or mobility impairments. But
Mobility challenges.
Mhm.
I'm not aware of any accommodations for things like vision impairment or hearing impairment or anything like that. So that is, I wish I was shocked, but I'm not.
So I was a little shocked when they came back with that, right? I'm on the phone with them. We're going to get you a wheelchair. And I said, hey, look, I can walk just fine. What else do you have? Well, alternately, Mr. Prieve, we can have someone walk you down to the gate. Well, they do this for folks who are blind or low vision. And I said, well, look, I wear glasses, but I can see just fine. I could find my own way, but I'm going to take you up on that. I want the individual to walk me out down to the gate. Again, I'm doing market research. Walk me to the gate, but I want them to do one more thing. I want them to sit there at the gate and listen for the overhead announcements, because even hearing people cannot understand
It's
what's being
impossible.
said
So
in the
much so.
overhead announcements.
Mhm.
They said, yes, Mr. Priebe will take good care of you. So I show up on a Monday morning. I'm at Denver Airport. I check in with American. They take me over to Prospect Air Services. The gal is looking for my name on the iPad. She doesn't find it. She puts it down, pulls out the wheelchair.
As he's standing there.
I said, look, I don't need the wheelchair. You're supposed to walk me down to the gate. So she does. We go all the way out to the C terminals where American is. And then we get to the gate. She turns to leave. And I said, what are you doing? You're supposed to sit here and listen for the overhead announcements. I have a severe hearing loss. I cannot hear them. She says, no, I've got to get up to the Great Hall. The gate people, they'll take care of you. Well, no one shows up. No one does anything. Finally, when, yes, they're doing the early boarding for folks with wheelchair people, if you will, they wave me over and they go, Mr. Prieve, you can get on now. Well, I'm wearing my Hidden Disabilities Sunflower lanyard that identifies myself as someone with a severe hearing loss. And I stop at the front of the plane and I talk to the two flight attendants. And I said, look, I'm John Prieve. I have a severe hearing loss. I have one question. Are all the announcements, including the pilot announcements, in a written form so I can follow along? And they go, well, not quite. Here's what we do have. They pull out a pamphlet and they go, here's the initial safety announcement. It was in Braille.
In Braille?
Wait,
In
Yeah.
okay.
Braille.
What? Okay.
Okay.
They would have had
So
an easier time just typing it out.
I know. And here's the thing. Only
You're like,
8%.
I can see. I
I
don't.
can't. Yeah.
This is why I'm asking for it in writing.
Yeah.
Right. And here's the thing. Only 8% of blind low vision know Braille. How's that going to help him?
I know.
Yeah.
All right. So I say, all right, you guys have nothing. Now I'm in Phoenix. So I actually go to the American Airlines Special Assistant desk and I assume the role of a big D deaf individual, not audible. I'm signing only. The people behind the desk, they're like freaking out. They're like, timeout. We need an hour before we can even get an interpreter over here to communicate with you. And I'm like, looking at my watch, tick tock, my flight leaves. They then pull out a scratch piece of paper and we're exchanging cryptic notes back and forth. One of their questions to me was, hey, are you okay to sit in an exit row? Well, hold it. If you're big D deaf, you're not audible, you can't hear, you can't sit in an exit row. And I go, yeah, sure, I can sit in the exit row. Of course, later on, that when I get to the gate, they find out you're not sitting in the exit row. They pull me out. But before, as we concluded our note passing back and forth cryptically, they take me over and once again, they pull out a wheelchair.
Okay. Wow. Well, I actually think so. I think that this is a great place actually to wrap up this
Okay.
portion of our this part of the series because I think it's a great segue into really talking about the solutions that y'all have come up with. But I want to say something before we wrap this up, which is that I don't think it's the fault of any of the individuals in this situation, right? Like every
No.
single person that you
Mm.
encounter was actually trying to do the best job that they could given the tools that they had.
Yes.
But they
Mhm.
didn't actually have a good tool with which to assist you,
Mhm.
which again is why I think like, wow, this is a perfect time to like, let's take a pause and then we'll start in the next portion of the series and talk about, okay, so what are actual good tools that y'all have created that people can use to manage these situations? Because it's not an intention, it's not a goodwill, it's not these people are bad or this airline is
No.
bad, or it's not that kind of thing. It's that people don't have the knowledge and they don't have the tools. So I can't
Mhm.
wait to talk to y'all about this next bit. So if you're
Let's do.
listening or watching, make sure that you tune in to the next part of the series where we're going to be like diving into that. And if you haven't seen the first part of the series, or if you haven't listened or watched the first part of the series, make sure you go back and check that out too. So you have the full story before we get into part 3. We'll see you next time right back here on CareLab. Bye.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.